Hello everyone and welcome to the GO.Live Gaming Podcast on the 31st of the May's 2018. I am the Sad Charles known as Christian, and with me today I have Chromatism, also known as Josh.
Hello.
Hello.
That's it. I'm just saying hello. No, I'm all right though. If you're going to ask me that, I'm fine. Thank you very much.
Right,
yeah.
Cool. Just want to get that out of the way.
Formalities.
Formalities. James, also known as Drainus. How you doing, man?
Hello. Man, you're sounding so much better this week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. The level of energy I'm on, it's not even comparable to last week. Last week was horrendous. So I'm hoping that I can deliver a little bit more this week. Last week I was lost. I could just stick like, okay, let's just get through the information, and then I can go to sleep. So
I just imagine you sort of waking up, sweating bullets, thinking, was that all a dream? Oh my god, no.
yeah, basically.
Well, welcome back to the land of the living.
Yeah, thank you. When we ended the stream last week, I was like, how did I go? Did I go well? I don't even know. I don't even know, man. All right. We're currently live on Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, and Mixer. If you don't have time to stay with us the entire stream, then the VOD will be up as fast as we possibly can put it out. It sounded dirty in some sense. On the YouTubes, and on Saturday, I will put out the audio version, the podcast version, a little bit more processed, a little bit more crisp. So if you're an audiophile like me, it should be an extra nice listening experience. We usually talk about EA, Bioware, and Anthem, but on weeks where we can't talk about Anthem because they haven't released any news about Anthem, we talk about other stuff. So we're going to talk about Battlefield 5 today, since that is still pretty hot. Off the plate, or on the plate, or off the shelf, or whatever kind of metaphor you want to use.
It's hot. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hot. It's a little bit colder since, I guess, last week. Last week it was really fresh and hot. Now it's just hot.
As hot as the figurines on its cover artwork.
Hey.
Agreed. But we're getting closer and closer to EA Play, and that's something that I also want to push this time around. We're going to do a stream of EA Play, and also talking about anything that happens on screen. So if you just want to hang with us, you're more than welcome to. It would be awesome for you guys to hang with us, chat with us, talk with us during the stream, and talk about what they're presenting at EA Play. There's going to be more stuff about Anthem, so that's going to be amazing. There's going to be more stuff about Battlefield 5, so that's going to be amazing. There's probably going to be a lot of sports titles that we don't personally care too much about, but it's probably going to be awesome that as well. Who knows? I don't know.
Yes, come join us. We have sweeties and beanbags.
Yes, we can probably give you a cookie or two. That was a lie. That was a lie.
Oh. I can give them internet cookies.
Yeah.
They're nice and nutritious.
Also, if you enjoyed the show, then please send us an email at feedback@gunsofanthem.com. That would be fun to see some questions over there, and those will be talked about in the podcast most likely. And the first thing that I want to talk about before I introduce all the segments or what we're going to talk about this week is that something called the Article 13, that's what people are calling it at least, is being talked about. It sort of popped up yesterday, according to my sources here, pointing towards that guy.
That was me. Yeah.
But this is basically another push. Like, we have these constantly, like, it goes a couple of months and there's a new thing, and then that gets shut down, or it gets through for some reason, and then something else comes up. But basically what this is that they want to be able to survey everything that gets uploaded to upload services, like cloud services, or upload sites, or I guess that could be torrents as well. Anything basically that gets uploaded, which is bonkers, the idea that anyone would even put in the resources to be able to survey that, because that is going to be A lot of money. And I don't know
if I can just amend that as well, it's not just uploads. Even if you flex a link on a public forum, such as Reddit, Twitter, wherever, if it's a link to a news article that is not your original content, you've just broken the law according to this article. And to keep it up there, it will either be taken down immediately or you will have to pay a fee to keep it up. And we don't know what that entails yet.
No.
Yep. The definition that they're using is content sharing services.
Yes.
So basically, any service on the internet that you use in which you can transmit data from yourself to another user. Yeah. Think about how large that is.
Yeah, I mean, every time there's stuff like this popping up, it just feels like these legislations and things they're trying to push towards in order to be a real thing. It's not people with the correct understanding of how the internet and how data and how all of that stuff actually works, because this is going to be if this goes through, we're talking about millions upon millions of dollars in just building the infrastructure in order to be able to survey all of this stuff. So it's stupid on paper, and we don't, of course, want people surveying everything we do online. That's just stupid. Why should they? It doesn't make any sense. So there's a site called savetheinternet.eu.
Save your internet.
Save your internet, even. .eu. You can go over there. Probably going to leave the link in the description of the VOD. If you want to, we can just write a link in the chat for you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's something that I want to mention. It's one of those stupid things that we have to talk about and actually deal with every once in a while. So, but yeah, over to the first segment, what we're actually going to talk about this week. We're going to talk about women in war, because that's hot on the topic.
Women.
Hot, like that front cover. Am I right?
Am I right? We're also going to talk about Battlefield 5 and microtransactions. So a little bit more information on how the currency system will actually work when it comes to Battlefield 5. So that's interesting, at least if you ask me. Battlefield 5 pre-order bonuses is something we're going to talk a little bit about as well. Like pre-order stuff, it's always... I don't think you ever can do that stuff in a way that feels right. I don't know.
No.
But we're going to talk about that as well. And that's basically going to be it. I think we're going to do most of the talking when it comes to women in war, this little topic. So there were a couple of articles that I'm going to base this conversation from. So if you aren't up to speed with why we're talking about this, is that, well, a lot of people were angry about the British woman with the prosthetic arm being a part of the trailer because she's not historically accurate. And because of that, a lot of people got upset, and the trending hashtag #NotMyBattlefield started going on Twitter, and it's... the outrage, in my opinion, is not proportional to the issue at hand, if you ask me. But hey, I got two articles. The first one is from The Verge. Let's see here. Did I not have that open?
The game title, it's a wonderful title.
Yeah, Battlefield 5 fans who failed history are mad at that the game has women in it. That's the title of the article. So, this is just a snippet from the article. It's laughable to think that any modern video game based on a war is historically accurate. But even in this case, Battlefield isn't off the mark. Women did fight in World War II, from the Air Force units known as Night Witches to secret agents as Nancy Wake. Ludmila Pavlichenko is hailed as the most successful female sniper in history, as well as one of the top military snipers of all time, credited with 309 kills.
She was an absolute badass.
Yeah.
Absolute badass.
Wanda Gertz began her military career during World War I and later commanded an all-female battalion in World War II. She was Polish, if someone wants to know about that. Young women enlisted in combat roles across the world. that a single British woman in the game reveal trailer has Battlefield players so riled up is willful ignorance that such a role could have ever existed in history. This ugly familiar line of thinking reared its head before DICE dared to put out a black man on the cover of Battlefield 1. This was the thing. The hashtag #NotMyBattlefield was the same back then. It's a chance for these angry contingents. That's a word.
Contingents.
That's not a word that I usually often to push against what they view as a bastardization of the series. But as the hashtag itself says, it's not theirs. Battlefield 5 is yet another example of a game, a movie, a TV show, a cultural touchpoint that young, angry white men want to claim as their own. I guess you could say. Fans have no ownership over the things they love. Battlefield players do not get to decide what belongs or doesn't belong in Battlefield 5, as executive producer Alexander Gröndal said on Twitter. We will always...
Hydration is very important. Very important.
Dramatic effect.
Yeah.
Yes.
For some reason I'm losing my voice. This is weird.
That's extreme.
It's recurring.
Yeah. We will always put fun over authentic. So, yeah.
Hey!
I made it through.
Well done, that article.
Yeah. But the thing is, I tried to do my research as well before this, looking up if there was any issue about a British woman being on the front line. And that is the only thing that I can find. British women weren't allowed on the front line during World War II. But if this could be translated as the front line, I don't know. This might be some sort of little agent squad, some little own unit that does their own operations and missions. If so, this wouldn't be improbable or impossible.
Do you mean it is a World War II version of Bad Company? Is that what you're telling me, Saj? Oh,
Yeah.
I'm excited now. But I think the key word, though, is the resistance, because, I forget her name. Is it Ludmila? I love her story. I can never remember her name. Our Russian sniper friend.
Yeah, Ludmila Pavlichenko.
The Polish battalion leader, again. No, the name is not going to... Thank you. But the thing is, the female battalions and whatnot, if you really want to break that down into component parts, they were resistance fighters, not soldiers, which is a stupid argument, but they were. Just...
Yeah. But a lot of women...
You're splitting a very fine hair there.
It is a very fine hair,
Yeah.
I agree, totally.
But a lot of women in the British army were volunteers that didn't fight on the front line, but it did a lot of other stuff, like communications, a lot of stuff when it came to the industry of actually building stuff, and they had a lot of... and it apparently was quite important for these women to be treated as exactly as the male soldiers that had the same occupations in the army. So the only thing when it comes to the British army was that the women weren't allowed on the front line. But other than that, there were quite a lot of women. So when we're talking about Poland and Russia, we see a lot of women.
They didn't have much choice.
I was about to say that was by necessity.
Yeah, but still.
But also, in the British Army, there were a lot of blokes who volunteered and never went anywhere near the front line because they were in support roles. Nothing to do with their gender.
Yeah. So, like the outcry of this is, well, it's a little bit, it's too much based in ignorance for my taste.
I mean, I have some thoughts, but I'll let you cover what you want to cover, because I would like to talk, because I did mention this last week, and at that time I hadn't quite processed what my problem with that trailer and the artwork was. But do carry on, and I'll butt in with my piece at some point, so it's fine. As always.
All right, so this is a article on Polygon that has the title "Battlefield 5's female playable characters are here to stay," says the developer. So during this outcry, people actually demanded, or a few people. We're not going to say people because this was not the majority, but some people actually had the balls to demand that they should remove females from the game. Like that would happen, but all right. So
can I demand that they are removed from the human gene pool?
yeah.
Ooh. Well, they are a minority, as we well know. So
Yeah. So this article, this is a snippet from this article. After EA DICE revealed Battlefield 5, a small but vitriolic cross-section of fans voiced its concern that the series was pandering to modern audiences by including playable female avatars. So Oscar Gabrielson, general manager at developer DICE, told them in no uncertain terms to get over it. Let me be clear about one thing, Gabrielson wrote on Twitter. Player choice and female playable characters are here to stay. Battlefield 5 allows players to create multiple highly customized avatars as a part of the company of soldiers and assets that they acquire over time. So the company, we said, is a thing where you make your own company of highly customized characters and vehicles. Cosmetic options allow players to choose the gender and ethnicity of their troops. The game also features a female avatar on the cover of the standard edition of the game. Social media and Reddit users see the cover art as evidence of DICE putting a thumb in the eye of historical accuracy. That's despite broad historical evidence of women taking part in combat operations, guerrilla warfare, and espionage during World War II, as well as the developer's stated goal to tell new and interesting stories. We want Battlefield 5 to represent all of those who were part of the greatest drama in human history, Gabrielson continued in a thread series of comments, and give players choice to choose and customize the characters they play with. Our commitment as a studio is to do everything we can to create games that are inclusive and diverse. We always set out to push boundaries and deliver unexpected experiences, but above all, our games must be fun. Gabrielson also pointed out that the sandbox that DICE and its publisher EA have always sought to create has included a myriad of actual historical inaccuracies. As an example, he showed a GIF of 3 male avatars riding on the same horse. One was driving, as it were, while the other was hip-firing a massive machine gun, and while the other was painting the landscape with the business end of a flamethrower. So yeah, I just like that last part of it.
Seems legit.
Yeah.
Can I just jump in? Sticking their thumb into the eye of history, is that why she's wearing such carefully applied black eyeliner? Is that what that's supposed to be?
Probably.
Great stuff. You're done.
But all right, let's see.
I don't know, man.
It's a very clear message from Bioware. We're not listening to you. We're doing what we're doing, and that's that.
Bioware, eh?
Yes, Bioware.
Bioware.
Yes,
I thought they were
Bioware.
making it. Yeah, okay.
Yes.
I'm glad we got there. Actually, I would like to jump in here if I may, because we've had a comment on YouTube. Thank you very much, by the way. Saying, but why shouldn't they demand it? There are very rarely any female soldiers in the army, especially not in the British. And the point I like to point out, maybe in the Soviet, but in the trailer, the soldiers were clearly British. And that actually does tie into my feelings and what I've had to sort of try and work my head round in the last couple of weeks. Because I also had a sort of a very knee-jerk reaction to that trailer. And then, even worse, to the artwork at the end. And I spent the last couple of weeks thinking, am I a sexist bastard? That doesn't sound like me. I don't know what's going on. But no, I sort of unpacked it, and I mentioned this to these guys here, sort of pre-show as well. Is that I think one of the big misstep that DICE have actually made with that particular trailer is that as a reveal trailer, it was very poor, and I think we mentioned that last week as well. Perhaps I can't quite remember. What it does do is it shows off in sort of a chaotic way a lot of the new features they want to bring into Battlefield 5. I'm going to try very hard not to call it 1. It's going to happen consistently here, I can tell. But that's what that was. That was a multiplayer.
That, last week as well. So
I probably did. Yeah, I remember saying it now.
Also
Actually,
made by
Well,
Bioware.
I did.
yes, Bioware made this. Oh, you did, yeah. Well, I'm sure we all did, Sarge. It was all a fever dream. We know this.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we have this feature-rich trailer which was all over the place. But what it was not labeled as, and what became clear afterwards, was that was a multiplayer trailer that was designed to show off multiplayer features. And we are currently in an age, for better or worse, or whatever your stance is, it doesn't matter right now, where we have, we have people technically, on the far left who are feminists and SJWs and blah blah blah, and we've got other people who are apparently, by comparison, on the far right. They're probably liberals in the center, whatever. And we now have these issues where we've had an all-females cast of Ghostbusters, and a lot of people think, well, on one side, yeah. I mean, you've got people who think that's great. This is wonderful. I mean, we've also got Ocean's 8. This is wonderful. We're giving women the chance to shine. And then we got the other arguments of, why does it need to be Ghostbusters where they do that? Why can't it be something else? So, and I'm just using that as one example of a very long laundry list of things. So doing this in this way, I think, was interesting. What they should have done, in my opinion, is we should have had a sort of a reveal trailer which showed snippets of what the campaign would be. That's your serious sort of World War II experience. We then label the second trailer as multiplayer. That is then your features. And you know what? I've got absolutely no problem whatsoever with customization options out of the wazoo in multiplayer if it's fun. It's clearly not going to be your authentic experience, but it's going to be a fun experience. I'm okay with that. Something a little bit new. Something we're not seeing in a World War II shooter. If you don't count Battlefield Heroes, oddly enough, it's not something we've seen in a World War II shooter really all that much before. But the thing that was a nail in the coffin for me is that you just have this multiplayer feature trailer. You've got British redhead Tracer, hello love, with her prosthetic arm. But that was all customization, fine. Then at the end, we've got this artwork of a woman who, at first glance, and this is the bit that took me a while to get my head around, is that it's very, very Battlefield, very Battlefield style. There's a woman on the cover, there's a soldier on the cover, but she doesn't look like a soldier. And it took me a while to realize, well, she's got black eyeliner, she's wearing lipstick, she's clearly wearing makeup, she's got nice, clean, tied back hair, and she's got a bit of dirt just shoved on her face for good measure. It doesn't. That after seeing Cockney Tracer in that feature sort of trailer, then we see sort of Cockney Tracer, it seems like, sans prosthetic arm on the cover artwork. That right there is your knee-jerk reaction. And I think that might have been to get people to talk about it a lot more. That might have been to generate the buzz. But I don't think that was the best move in the current climate. Now, if you'd show me a woman like Ludmilla, basically badass Russian sniper, you know what? I'm totally game for that on my artwork cover. She should be seen. And, that would be amazing. But no, we get a glamour model in makeup, looking somewhat like a soldier, which is stupid.
The reveal trailer is there to do a very particular job. It's there to build hype. It's there to get people talking about it because they want people talking about it because that raises its profile. So in that sense, the reveal trailer did exactly what it was supposed to set out to do, and it did it extremely well.
Very much.
But games designers are artists. We can probably all agree on that. They are. It's a form of art, and when an artist depicts anything, especially anything historical, it is their own impression of that scene, of that scenario, that event, that whatever it may be. And by that very nature, you're never going to get the actual, the actual historical scene portrayed to you exactly as it was. It will always have the artist's slant overlaid on top of it, if I may.
Of course.
And that's sort of what we're seeing here with this trailer. We are seeing a lot of very familiar World War II paraphernalia, vehicles, guns, etc., but we're seeing it through the view of DICE's, I'm going to get it right this time, through DICE's artistic impression of those historical events. And I mean, that's their prerogative. They're creating the game, they're building the game. That's for them to decide how much of that they want to put in and where they want to put it in. And that's the product that they create, and that's the product that then we buy. It's not necessarily up to us to say, no, you should have done it this way because I see this differently to the way you see this.
Yeah. But the thing is, like I talked about this last week, so I'm gonna try to summarize this a little bit. When we're talking about historical accuracy, like we're talking about Battlefield and historical accuracies, yes, it's been based in history all the time. They try to base as much as they possibly can in history. But Battlefield 1, the last game, has many things that are historically inaccurate. Look at the tanks, for example. If we're going to be historically accurate,
They
they're
worked.
they're going to break down all the time and be quite ineffective. When we're talking about the guns, there were not as many automatic guns in World War One. That's just stupid. And there's a lot of gadgets that you can put on the guns that are questionable. There's a lot of things in Battlefield 1. We take the mission, as I mentioned last time, and that there's also a battle pickup where you pick up a heavy armor suit and go around the battlefield like a knight with a machine gun. They have sort of taken small tidbits that like pictures of that stuff being somewhere in some form or fashion in World War One, but they have implemented it to take a very much a larger part than it actually did in reality. And when we're talking about the new system where they need to focus a lot more on cosmetics in this game in order to monetize the game because they've said screw it to the premium model, then they need to have a lot of more options to be able to monetize the game. And one very simple option is to give you the option to play as a female character, even if that doesn't always make sense. You can justify it in most cases when it comes to the most countries that was in World War II. But yeah, so some of the cases are going to be questionable, but it's going to be open up so much more cosmetics and possibilities for DICE to be able to implement stuff in the game that could speak to people in how they want to customize the characters. So I mean, that's where this lands. Yeah, it's a little bit historic and accurate in that way. Like I said before, that in the British Army, women weren't on the front line. Yeah, they weren't. They weren't allowed on the front line. But when we're talking about almost everything else in the army, there were women. So, and as I said, in this scenario, if you want to justify it for yourself, this could be like this little squad is a specialized squad that maybe has their special agents in some form or fashion that are, for some reason, in a little bit of a larger fight at the moment. I don't know. You can justify it as you want. I don't think you have to be that narrow-minded about the possibilities of it not being there. I don't know.
I mean, I agree with everything you just said, but I think my issue is, and I think the issue with a lot of people, whether or not they realize it, is that it's just simply the way it was presented. And as I said, if they had presented the serious World War II setting... Sorry, did you want to...
No, well, the reveal trailer was a poor representation. We've had this statement from Jack Frags, by the way. He said this in one of his videos, that the reveal trailer was a poor representation of the game. And yeah, it struck on a sour note for a lot of people, so you could say that it was a poor representation. And also, they tried to cram in as much information as they could. They tried to cram in that you could tow vehicles. They tried to cram in that you could jump out of windows. They tried to cram in that there's call-ins for the squads. They tried to cram in that you can move in different ways, that you can prone, you can dash, and you can get ammo from your characters. That if you get downed, you lie down and call out for help. They tried to cram in so much stuff, which they shouldn't have. They shouldn't push. Like, they should have slowed down a little bit and tried to push another narrative, maybe.
So if I'm reading this correctly, not to speak for everybody here, but it seems to me then that where we're sort of landing with this is that we're happy. We love the World War II setting. The trailer, basically, it was a PR misstep, and and it was a bad way to do the initial reveal. Is that that?
Well, not PR misstep, because this has blown up and everybody's talking about the game. So if you're talking about like all publicity is good publicity, then sure, this is gonna put some people off from buying the game. but it's also going to put the game in a lot of more people's eyes that wouldn't talk about it otherwise. So it's spreading like a wildfire by itself, and I think that's probably one of the points of the initial reveal trailers. I think the other trailers that we're going to see are going to be of a totally different nature than this one.
Oddly enough, very last thing, I think we talked about this last week, but you were saying, James, that one of your favourite parts of Battlefield 1 were the war stories. Yeah, and I must say, I'm really looking on the back of this. I'm actually really looking forward to seeing what they do with some of the settings that they've announced. I know we didn't really go into that last week too much, but some really interesting fronts. Also, I think was Norwegian Resistance mentioned, and I think that was also potentially a female protagonist. And you know what? I'd love to play that. That's something I know nothing about. I'd love to play through some of that. So
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, again, I said it last week, so I'm not going to dive into it in much detail. But if you want historical accuracy, you go to the single player.
Yeah.
And you go to the war stories, and that's where you're going to get that historical accuracy, the element to it. But yeah, absolutely. And I'm not well. When we do get the a decent amount of details, or at least strong rumors over the war stories, then I am more than happy to discuss them at probably far too much length.
Yeah. Agreed. I was supposed to say one other thing, but then I lost my thought. Haha. All right. That might
Is it
actually.
Battlefield 5 related?
Yes. Yes, it is.
Oh,
You know what? We can move over to Battlefield 5 and microtransactions.
my favorite.
Yeah, we could probably talk about and debate about the game and what they shouldn't put in and what they should put in, because this is opinion based and we're gonna have different opinions on it. We're gonna probably be able to sit here all day, but that's not what we're gonna do. We're gonna talk about money. That's sweet green stuff. Battlefield 5 will have currency available for purchase with real world money. The premium currency can be used to buy cosmetic items for in-game use. The existence of a premium currency was confirmed for Polygon by representatives of EA. The game will also have grind currency, which can be earned through gameplay. So the game will have microtransactions that is confirmed, in them confirming that there is going to be a real world currency or real money currency for the game. So how this is going to be implemented is going to be the crucial part of this, basically. If we're going to see something like League of Legends, I think I'm questioning it, because I'm so used to that old model of free-to-play games like League of Legends, for example, where you the game itself is free, but you can buy riot points or whatever they're called nowadays in order to buy skins and champions. They're probably going to have some similar model in Battlefield 5, most likely, where you can buy stuff, and probably some of the skins are going to be locked behind premium currency only, like we've seen with a lot of titles in the past. And some will be locked behind both premium currency and this grind currency. That, if you don't mean what we're talking about, grind currency, it's basically the currency that you get from just playing the game, like multiplayer and the co-op, and maybe even you get some of this currency playing single player. But I would guess that there's some single player specific skins that you can unlock if you play the war stories at hand. So yeah. What do you guys feel about this monetization system? Does it work?
James?
Does it work for you?
Well, we all knew it was coming, didn't we? Let's be honest. And at no point in any of that have you said that there is going to be actual gameplay affecting purchases available. It's all cosmetic. And that's the big thing. We don't really care if they're putting in microtransactions. We understand why developers do it. We understand the benefits that it presents to them. That's absolutely fine. And you keep it cosmetic. You allow people to make things their own. Absolutely. Personally, I'm not a fan of having this dual currency.
No, I'm
Um,
not even
I
a
can
fan of
understand the
it.
aspect of having a grind currency.
Yeah.
And then if you want to buy more of that grind currency with real cash, I mean, it's not something that I would personally ever do, but I can understand exactly why people would do it. But having the premium currency doesn't sit hugely well with me. But again, not my game.
No.
Mm.
I think where the issue for me will land depends on where they set the threshold for the different items. Like, do you need to play a week in order to be able to buy one skin? Like a couple of hours a day each week in order to get one skin, and then you can pay like $100 in order to get 2 or 3 skins or something like that. That is going to grind my gears.
God, that would be a bit over the odds, wouldn't it? $100 for 3 skins.
Oh well, $10. Sorry, currency translation
So,
or
Josh,
conversion in my head is not.
have you not been playing GTA 5 multiplayer?
You know,
And the amount of money you can sink into that.
I successfully managed to avoid it, but I understand it's pretty rubbish. Yeah, when it comes to that.
You can have a small car park range that goes to several £100 worth of actual content. Yeah.
Yeah, I think where it just depends on how they balance this currency system. It needs to feel fair, and we know that that has been an issue at least for EA in the past, and EA and DICE when we talk about Battlefront 2. One of the reasons, one of the arguments that a lot of people had was that like the heroes took forever to be able to unlock if you only play the game and didn't actually spend any money. And I just don't hope we are going to end up with the same situation. I hope it's going to be fair. Just give us a lot of options and a lot of things to buy, or so that won't be a thing. Please.
You end up playing for 6 months solid just to be able to get those aviator goggles that that you think look so nice on your character, and then you suddenly realize it's first person and you never see them.
Agreed. But
I'm sure
But
you'll
they
be able
glint
to
off
see
the
them.
sun so realistically that every sniper in 1,000 miles can see you.
Oh, that'd be amazing. I will be that sniper. Don't you worry about that at all. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you all the way. You know, I haven't really got much to add. I've hated the secondary currency shenanigans since the original Xbox Live went live. Because that's when I first saw it, and I've hated it ever since. Never liked that one bit.
It's a long time to hold a grudge.
Yeah.
Though
I can hold them.
A light in the dark here is that I do think that this system is better than loot boxes.
Yeah,
because
but
now you can actually choose what you spend your currency on.
I mean, I totally agree, but there's still sort of a tier of crap, not so crap, still crap.
yeah.
So,
like we have a saying here in Sweden as pest or cholera. It's a little game where you get 2 different choices that are both really bad, but you have to decide which one is
the lesser of
worst.
2 evils.
Agreed.
Yep.
And yeah, that is certainly this is certainly that. But it seems
I've pretty much resigned myself to accepting that it's going to be there on every AAA title. You just got to hope it's in the nicest way possible.
Yeah.
But like I say, I mean, just to reiterate, and just because it's such a key point, the fact that cosmetics are entirely divorced, so they claim from actual player progression. Thank goodness. Thank goodness for that.
Well, in certain ways, I would think they are. Like, there's certainly going to be like achievements where if you complete an achievement, then you're going to get a skin from that, and if you complete this assignment, you're going to get a skin from that, and they've already stated that they're going to be sort of unique time-based stuff as well. So
I think that's going to be the Tides of War thing. I think they're definitely going to be timed-based, sort of. You can get this skin now and never again.
Yeah.
So certainly think that's going to be the thing.
And we're going to see if that succeeds for them. Like Fortnite has certainly made it a thing, apparently, since they're making millions.
Siege has done very well off it. I mean, they're not making quite that much, but it's done very well off that scheme. So, you know.
I just hope that they're actually implementing a model with the cosmetics that works. Like, I don't want to see people running around with unicorn helmets on the battlefield. That would put me off.
So we just go right back to that decapitated horse's head on the Jeep Nero.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it totally depends on how cartoony they want to go with it. Like, I could certainly see a unicorn suit for Fortnite, but we're talking about Battlefield here.
Yeah,
it's going to be difficult to accept such if they start implementing silly stuff like that.
The prosthetic arm is my limit. That is my absolute limit. Don't go further than that.
Yeah, but that can be pretty cool, and like you can make a story for your character, like he lost a leg, whatever, or an arm, and you can have a prosthetic
soldier with a peg leg hobbling around the battlefield.
A company of pirates.
Bloody hell! I can't crouch.
You get to use it as your melee weapon, so you can beat people to death.
Yeah, you just rip up.
Ship skins for your tanks.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah.
That'd be terrible. You have waves around your treads.
Yeah. Oh, like those fake, like for theaters where they have waves that moves where people are moving them behind each other. So, like,
I think we better stop. I think we better stop putting ideas out there because that's all awful.
Yeah.
Can I just point out here all the things we're talking about? PUBG has got Fortnite. Grand Theft Auto has Saints Row.
Yeah.
What's Battlefield got to cater for the mentally insane?
That's true. That's I don't know.
And is there a gap in the market that we can jump into and make a fat ton of cash out of?
Maybe.
That's a point, yeah.
I'm talking about interesting stuff right now. Good point.
Please, after the show. EA, if you're watching, send a check.
Yeah. All right. So we can actually move over to Battlefield 5 pre-order bonuses because that has also been released in the last couple of days. So that's something that we want to talk about. Now, there are some stuff that you get. Let's see here.
Sorry. I've got to interrupt because I've only just noticed. I was the one that linked this. I've only just noticed that the very top item is called World War II, as you've never seen it. Well, you're not wrong.
That's the first. Yeah, I didn't react to that either. But we know that if you have EA access and Origin access, you get early access to the actual game. But I guess that means that you actually need to pre-order the game either way. You just get even earlier access to the game if you have those. So, if you pre-order the game, you get access to Battlefield 5's open beta. You get one set of Paratrooper gear. It's a special set I guess skin for your paratrooper, whatever. Special assignments. At launch, get additional special assignments. Whatever special assignments actually are and what you get from those, we are not entirely sure, but
I can give you a really good speculation, but I'll hold on to that.
Yeah. And also,
can I just quickly jump in on the previous item that you said, one set of paratrooper gear. If you actually read the wording, it says you get one additional special soldier set of paratrooper gear. Does that mean it's only going to be available to a particular class, do we think? Or do we think that special soldier set is actually a more generic term?
Good question.
That's a really interesting.
Just wondering.
Good question. I have no answers.
Because they did say that they wanted to make the different classes distinct.
Yeah. You could actually imagine perhaps that the paratroopers linked to the assault archetype.
Yeah.
That's potentially.
Yeah. From what I know, the different soldiers have different archetypes, and there's special archetypes like exotic archetypes that we talked about last week. I think it was some sort of paratrooper.
Hang on.
There was some
Grenadier or something.
Sorry, I've just remembered that one of the things on certain maps is that rather than just respawning, you do actually power drop in. So perhaps it actually means actual parachutes with particular patterns and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, might be.
Which is a thought.
Yeah. 5 Battlefield 1 weapons you also get now. I have actually checked out, and when we're talking about historical accuracy here, there's actually 5 weapons. I guess you could say taken straight from World War II that you can use in Battlefield 1 in World War 1. So there, when we're talking about historical accuracy, there once again, not a thing.
For sure.
Yeah. But yeah. Josh.
I think also yeah. I mean, do you mind if I point out the differences between the deluxe and the standard as well?
Yeah, sure. Go for it. Go for it.
Yeah. So, as you say, so if you pre-order, you get early access to the Battlefield Open Beta. If you get the deluxe version, you also get early access to the base game. So I don't know if that's like 3 days, which it usually is, or what. The deluxe edition also comes with 5 sets of paratrooper gear. Again, customize your soldier with British Special Air Service or German Airborne sets. Which, let's face, that's pretty cool. SAS and, yeah. But anyway, still. More special assignments. Play through special assignments inspired by the true history of British and German paratroopers.
Historical accuracy!
Hey! Starter assignments. Test your skills on the battlefield and gain valuable XP. And 20 weekly items with airlift. Get 20 weekly airlifts, each containing 1 customization item. Okay.
Airlift?
Oh, okay. But yeah. So my thoughts, I think that's what you were going to flex towards me, Saj. Yeah. First of all, a lot of my thoughts... honestly, it's a little bit broken record in the sense that I've had these thoughts about games like this for quite some time, not just Battlefield 5. I think that it's actually genuinely... Now, the open beta, I actually don't mind. If they want to do a stress test, just for pre-order people, I can wrap my head around that concept. I do not like, under any circumstances, the idea that people get to play the game early if they have the deluxe edition. I actually think that's a little bit... I think that's a bit naff, because you're literally giving people a heads-up advantage. Because let's face it, it is Battlefield. You will unlock weapons, you will unlock gear, not customization, but you will unlock weapons and gear for your classes, which will give you an advantage versus all the other poor little noobs who are coming into the game several days later. So that's a good first impression. I mean, they've done it for years, so it's not bad. It's just something that annoys me. I'm a bit concerned about the idea of 20 weekly airlifts because... Yeah, because, I mean, there are lots of ways you could take the concept of a loot box, kind of redo that concept, and you've got something that's definitely not a loot box, but still shares some of the same mechanics as a loot box.
Yeah.
So
When
again,
it's a loot box, not a loot box.
yeah, exactly. So I'm a little bit iffy on that, and I'm sure we could talk about that if we want to, in a bit. And special assignments. This is what I want to talk about. So I'm guessing, and I've made this comparison before, that in Rainbow Six Siege you have sort of weekly quests, if you will, but you also get daily assignments. And what these allow you to do is if you complete that daily assignment, you'll get a small boost of renown, which is their grind currency, if you want to put that into Battlefield 5 perspective, which you can use to purchase skins, and you could use it to purchase operators, though they've changed that now, so all the operators are there for everybody, pretty much. So, yay.
Yay.
So, but the thing is, so special assignments, does this mean then that I'm going to have, because Rainbow Six Siege did it, is everybody had a couple of daily slots open, but you could also then pay for a season pass, and you had multiple slots open, so you got currency faster. Now, they specifically state XP in assignments here, so what this sounds like to me is if you complete certain missions and goals in the game, then you get an XP chunk, potentially, and maybe that also ties into their grand currency. This is all speculation. So does that mean that I've got more slots open? Does that mean I've got some special missions just to give me a boost right at the start of the game? Does this mean that I'm going to have to potentially purchase slots and or missions, and I'll be given sort of a drip feed of missions every day, every week, but I'll have to purchase more if I want them? Is that where some of the microtransactions are actually going to go?
Yeah.
So it's all speculation, and like as I say, when is a loot box not a loot box? Well, is a loot box not a loot box if you can't get a duplicate item?
Yeah.
Just wondering about that. But so yeah.
The ability to purchase extra daily slots, weekly slots, whatever it may be, is a form of pay to win.
That's kind of
Maybe a very weak form of it, but essentially, then you're purchasing additional access to be able to play the game and progress not only yourself and your own abilities, but your statistics and your characters over what other people are getting, then is that not pay to win?
I would say it is, but a lot of people would say, yeah, but you can still play the game and get everything, so it's not really pay to win. Yeah, but it is paying to not waste my time.
Yeah.
Which is what pay to win is.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, it's a perspective issue, that one, I think.
I also got stuck on the starter assignments. Test your skill on the battlefield and gain valuable XP. That is something you get only with the deluxe edition. It sounds weird. Do you not get any starter assignments if you have the standard version of the game?
It does sound quite close to Day One DLC.
Well, yeah, it's a rebranding of stuff. It seems like these assignments are like they're going to be inspired by true history of British and German paratroopers and whatever, and they're just going to be inspired by true history events. It's going to be interesting to see how they actually do these, how they play out, because this could be, like they're obviously going to be on the same maps, but I guess they could work out different scenarios.
Maybe.
It's really, it's really confusing,
don't we? Really.
And as I said, special assignment could also simply be a case of, as an assault class, get 20 kills. That could be a special assignment, and then you get a chunk of XP for completing that mission. And then the next one is play. And like I said, I'm really simplifying this, but the next one is as a sniper, get 5 headshots. That could be a special assignment.
Yeah.
And that's it. And and as you say, the special assignments, and you can bet your bottom dollar that if Tides of War is what I suspect it is, which is going to be events that trigger maybe, that last for a month, a couple of months, weeks, I don't know. If they're events that lead to a special reward that you can only get in that time, you can bet they're going to tune that to the extent where a casual player will not be able to get that item unless they pay for some sort of booster, or they put a lot more time in than they would normally put in, and therefore marry you to the game effectively. I can see that happening. So
it makes a certain business sense.
I'm afraid it does. Yeah.
Yeah.
It sounds really negative.
Unfortunately, that's where these things are driven from, isn't it, though?
Money, yeah.
Yeah. There's an old rule, isn't there? DBAD, don't be a dick, which unfortunately never survives past the boardroom.
I think they'd like to have measuring competitions in there, Still.
Yeah. I mean, we're probably going to get a lot more information on EA, or during EA Play and after EA Play and during interviews surrounding EA Play and all of that. So, yeah.
Sorry. I'm jumping in. Can I also just say, sorry, there's the last point I forgot to mention before. If we haven't got a season pass included, then why the bloody hell are you still doing a deluxe edition? Because the only reason you are then doing a deluxe edition is to force more money out of people. Yep. That's it.
Yeah.
There's no other reason for it.
No.
So, no.
I mean,
do we know if the deluxe edition comes with any material components?
I believe that's all digital deluxe. As far as
it doesn't say anything on the website.
It doesn't mention whether it comes in a tin case or with a map of World War II battlefields or something.
No, I would guess that it's a digital deluxe edition. So.
Oh, the deluxe edition has a man on the cover. I've only just seen that.
That's true. The standard edition has a...
See, there you go. If you don't like your women's in Battlefield, just get the deluxe edition. You can have a man on your cover. That's great. That's bloody wonderful.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Classy.
I'm still stuck on these airlifts. Like you get 20 get 20 weekly airlifts, each containing one customization item.
Yeah.
If you you only get that if you have the deluxe edition, and that's something that you're always gonna have.
Do you get to choose the customization item, or is it random
I would.
like a
My guess
lottery?
is that it's going to be random.
Hmm.
And so my guess is that it'll be, like I said, this is my prediction, is it's random. You get one item, but it will not be a duplicate. Therefore, it's not a loot box. Because you're not gambling on something you've already got.
Yeah, I guess so. Um,
I
all right.
wonder if on PC versions there's going to be the ability to sell customization items for real
Oh
world
no,
money.
not anymore.
All right. I don't think we have too much else to talk about this week. I can mention Article 13 again. If you haven't, go over to saveyourinternet.eu and send an email through that page if you want to. If it's really so that it's an automated system that sends out an email that's a pre-written email to your representatives regarding this issue. And basically what Article 13 is that it will monitor everything, basically almost anything online that gets uploaded or downloaded to sharing sites or sharing services. It could be a link, could be a file, could be whatever. And, well, we don't want big corporations having access to that kind of information, because that is going to be abused and misused in many ways.
Goodbye fair use if that gets through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so many weird things and so many questions that you just...
Plus, we've seen how well YouTube's content filtering systems have worked
Yeah.
recently, haven't we? Or not worked, as the case may be.
So good, yeah.
Yeah, so can't wait for them to just this one up royally.
Yeah. So that's saveyourinternet.eu. All right, we're actually going to move over to the last segment of the show.
It returns.
It returns. Last week we did not have this segment. This week we are going to have this segment. And we're going to recommend something that you can do until next week. I need to get more stingers in order to make this even more professional, but since the new YouTube partner services, whatever, we lost our partnership, and that made us lose access to a lot of music that I usually use for this kind of stuff. But I'm probably going to be able to solve it in some form or fashion. But all right, let's tell you guys what you should do until next week, or at least suggest what you should do until next week, until we're back in black, sort of. So, Josh, do you have something that you can share with us?
I do, yeah. Couple of things, because I'm naughty like that. First of all, I have been totally hooked and addicted by, it's been an incredibly addictive experience to be playing Path of Exile. I don't know why I started to play it, but I did. And might I say, it is the best Diablo game I have ever played that Blizzard never released. It's great.
Did you just recently start, or have you played it before?
I've never played it before. I've only recently started, and I know there's been a heck of a lot of updates because they've revamped the entire campaign and how everything works.
Yeah.
So you don't have to play through 3 difficulty levels just to get to the end game now. You can just play through one contiguous campaign, and then you're there. But yeah, it's wonderful, and it's not pay to win. The only things you pay for is stash space, and quite frankly, I've already put, and this is a little bit embarrassing, in the last week I put 60 hours in, don't ask. And I thought, you know what, if you're going to charge me $20 for a very reasonable amount of stash space, and that's how you're going to monetize your game, I'm okay with that. That's fine. Have my money. That was great. Thank you. So that's wonderful. I highly recommend at least giving it a try. It's very different, though. Don't go into it thinking that it's going to be a simple experience. It's actually one of the most complex ARPGs I think I've also ever played. So it's not for the faint of heart. So be warned. Give it a look, though. The other thing I would say is I've also been playing on my Switch for a while, my Nintendo Switch. And Hyrule Warriors. If you never picked it up on the Wii U, because why would you? Because why would you have owned a Wii U? They released the Hyrule Warriors Definitive Edition. And yes, fine, it's from Tecmo Koei Tecmo, whatever they call themselves these days. It is part of the Warriors series, i.e. Dynasty Warriors. Don't let that put you off. It is by far the best Warriors game they've ever put out. There's actual depth to the combat. I mean, which is amazing, I think. And it is it's a glorious tribute and celebration of everything Zelda. So if you like Legend of Zelda, it's just completely worth picking up. And it's even got a story that isn't cringeworthy to boot. So yeah, it's worth it. It's totally worth picking up and playing. Highly
Alright.
recommended.
Cool. Yeah, nice that you were talking about Path of Exile. I was actually looking at it, thinking about it, and then I went with something else, but that's going to be my recommendation. So, James, do you have something that you want to recommend?
Yes. I'm staying away from video games this week because this weekend up at the NEC in Birmingham is the UK Games Expo.
James, can we meet?
Yes.
I'm going, so we need to see each other.
Yes.
Oh.
I see. I was going to say I'll be there.
Wow.
In the official capacity, but I will be there.
Official first time meetup.
Nice.
Go.
I have to live stream it. No,
Yeah. At least take a picture and put it on Twitter or something.
Oh, I'll have to do that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll do that then. Why not? But yeah, definitely, if you can make it out to the NEC, it's relatively cheap to get in. It's like 13 quid for an adult ticket. It's a very enjoyable day out. If you are into board games, you'll love it. If you're not into board games, you might well love it. They have some absolutely fantastic breadth of merchandise available. And the other thing I wanted to say, and this has only come into my head as something I reckon other people should do since yesterday, because I went to see it yesterday, was for the love of God, go and watch Deadpool 2.
Yeah,
that film was so good.
I had me howling with laughter in some places. Oh God.
I don't want to spoil anything, but there was one particular scene, and I think most people who have seen it will know which scene I'm talking about, which had me crying in my seat. And how Ryan Reynolds kept a straight face through that scene, I've got no idea.
He probably did. He probably didn't. It's just that he has that mask on.
Well, possible. maybe not at the time, actually.
Yeah, who knows? All right, good. Thank you for that. My recommendation is going to be almost along the same path as Path of Exile. See what I did there. It's Divinity Original Sin 2. I've been looking to pick it up for so long, and
great stuff.
I never did because it's so daunting. The game is so huge, so it just scared me off of actually buying it, because I don't know why. It's just I don't have that time anymore where I can sit down for hours and play games. So that's why I've been waiting to buy it for so long. But I finally did it, and I'm loving it so far. The characters are really well made, and I'm really loving the interactions. It's also, I'm listening to a book series called The Stormlight Archives right now, by a audiobook production company called Graphic Audio, and their slogan is "A Movie in Your Mind." And they sort of make little audio plays from books, so each character has its own actor and all that, and it's sound effects and the whole shebang, and it's great. And that fantasy world made me want to get into something else, and Divinity Original Sin 2 was perfect because it's this exact same vein of fantasy as the Stormlight Archives.
Stormlight Archives, so I'm going to have to make a note of that.
Yeah, it's good. The first book was pretty much only world building, but the second book has been great so far, and it's a never-ending story, it seems, because I've been listening for days. So
fair enough.
Yeah.
I also just chime in on Divinity Original Sin 2 and say there is a free enhanced edition upgrade coming if you own the original game as of nowish. Don't know when it's coming, but it's going to be massitive.
Yeah.
So just putting that out there.
Yeah, just being that world, and that it's very similar. The top-down gameplay is very similar to like Diablo, I guess you could say, and Path of Exile. So that's nice. I might actually get into Path of Exile. It's just that it feels like one of those games where you should have a steady group of people playing with at least. I mean, you could do it on your own, of course, but for me, it's one of those games where I would like to have a steady group.
I'd happily join your group, mate. Absolutely. So maybe we can even set that up. That would be very interesting.
Yeah, maybe. That could be fun. Certainly enjoyed my time in Diablo 2 back in the days. And in Diablo 3, first or second playthrough when the game released in its first little rough stage. I haven't actually played it since, and I've heard that it's become quite excellent since. And
with the expansion, it's very good. But I would actually say, for me, Path of Exile easily trumps it.
Yeah, I've heard that opinion from a lot of people. So you're probably not wrong. All right, that's going to be it for the Go.Live Gaming Podcast on the 31st of May, 2018.
We started as we finished.
Tying it together. All right. If you enjoyed the show, then please leave us a email at feedback@gunsofanthem.com. Leave a like or a dislike if you enjoyed or did not enjoy. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and here on YouTube and on Twitch and all of the things that you can follow us on. We do a lot of things where we talk to you guys and have interactions and stuff, and it's going to be more and more of what we do coming in the future. So there's only 4 stuff to look forward to, so do it now. Follow us now, or you will regret it. Sounds like a threat. I did not mean that way. Don't worry. I'm not gonna hurt you. Just press that follow button and everything will be fine. But yeah. That's it. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Playing the outro now. Goodbye.
Bye.